Hi, I'm Bob with Wolfe Ridge. Right now I'm at Brent's place from around the yard on YouTube, and we brought a pile of box wedges to test on his machine. Right behind me is his machine. Can you tell us more about it, Brent?
Sure. So this is a 2022 Wolfe Ridge 35 SHO box wedge. I've got a 30-inch stroke, which is a little bit different. And then we did the upgraded motor and hydraulic package. So it's got the 800 EFI on it, the 38-gallon double pump, and the Geltec controls.
And you've got the standard 3.5 by 3.5 box wedge on here right now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So we brought over a whole bunch of sizes to try today, and he's got a nice pile of rounds behind us. Looks like all ash, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be a good test. I'll show you guys the box wedges in a minute here. So like Brent said, he's got the 3.5 by 3.5, which is standard for the box wedge machine, on the splitter right now. And then on the pallet here, we have got the 3x3, 4x4, 4.5 by 4.5. Now those are sizes that we've offered for a long time now, but we've got a couple of new ones that we're in testing phase with, and that's why we're over here today. We have a 2x3 and a 2x4. So it'll be interesting to see how these work out. All right, Brent's putting the jacks down on the splitter here now, and we're gonna start with the 3.5 by 3.5 wedge. That's the standard wedge that's in the machine. And I'm gonna take you guys over by his IBC totes that are full of firewood and check this out. So he's got his IBC totes stacked up over here, and you can see this stuff is all really uniform. He was telling me that he keeps the bigger split pieces, all these, like, he calls them 4x4s, on this side, and then he'll keep the smaller splits on this side. And then when he's bundling, he can take a couple from here and a couple from there. It's a good idea. Also, he was keeping the weight on this side of the IBC tote because that's where the pallet forks go in. So I'm just going to take the tape measure now. Again, this is a 3.5 by 3.5 wedge that's in here. And looking at, this is like 3 3/4, 3 1/4, 3.5, almost 3.5. Yeah, that looks like 3 3/4 there. Again, 3 3/4. So that's a good way to get really uniform sizes. I think that's a really good size for a lot of people. But we're gonna try the next wedge now. Now these things are heavy, so you will want an extra hand changing them, unless you wrap a chain around it or something with an excavator or something like that. But both of us should be able to pick this up out of here. And
yep.
Straight up. All right. All right, we're gonna set this one down in. We just gotta put a pin in at the bottom now, right?
Yep.
Sweet. So the 4-inch is installed now, and on all of the newer built wedges, they're going to have that etching in them, so you'll be able to tell which is which. So we still have in stock a couple of sizes that don't have the numbers burned through like that, but eventually they all will. 4x4, even still, it's not bundle grade, but you know, if you were making campfire wood, I think that this might be okay. You'd get, you know, some smaller pieces and some bigger pieces, and yeah, that's measuring just a touch above 4, just a touch under 4. That one's under 3, a little over 4, right at 4, 1 3/4, something like that. 3.5, 4. So yeah, it's a good mix. And yeah, I guess it really depends on what kind of rounds you're putting into it too. If you're filling up the entire box wedge, you're going to get more of the bigger pieces. But if you're not, you're going to end up with smaller ones, especially as you split and the size of the log keeps going down. Okay, we just got done with the 4x4. Now, what are we going to?
We're going to try the 4.5 by 4.5.
All right, and I think we've got a nice big size round. Let's see if I can do this here. Right
Let me get that for you.
there.
Ready?
Okay, so we just ran the 4.5 by 4.5. You can see these pieces are, I would say, huge, but we get accused of making kindling all the time, so you could be the judge. But 4.5 by 4.5, and you can see we're ending up with about 4 3/4. Those outboard ones don't have, there's no
fourth wing.
Yeah, there's no extra wing there, so the outer ones will be wider. So that one is like, what, that's over 6 inches.
Yeah.
Now the bigger diameter you put on, the bigger that's going to end up being too.
Yeah.
Here was another outboard one, but that one's not. That's, I guess that's 5.5 anyway. But that made quick work out of this. But this stuff is, Brent, you're saying that this has got to be resplit.
I think for the bundles,
Yeah.
I mean, no joking aside, I mean, I guess if I put, you know, 4 of these together, I mean, that's pretty much a cubic foot. I mean, we could bag that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's not what your customers are used to, so that might cause some issue.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to run these through one more time down the middle, at least break them in half. And actually, that isn't too bad of a, you know.
No, yeah,
they're going to end up being 2 1/4.
2.5 by 4.5 or something.
Yeah, so
2.5 by 4. Yeah, that'll be a nice size.
that'll be a perfect bundle size. So
Okay.
really not a lot of extra work, but you can get through a lot of rounds in a hurry.
Yeah, this would be great for a wood stove, especially, or an outdoor boiler, especially with your 30-inch stroke. If you had some really long stuff,
Yeah,
man, you could make some really big pieces of firewood quick.
should almost try that.
Yeah, the permanent marker's still there.
Yeah, right.
All right. Here's the 3x3. We cleaned up some of that chaff and everything, just to get some of the normal pieces that you can expect to see out of there. And it's like 3 1/4. That one is a small one. That's
Inch and 3/4.
Inch 3/4. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
3
over
inch.
3. Okay.
3 1/4.
Right, 3 1/4 again. That one's like 3 1/2, huh? All right. 2 3/4. But yeah, this makes a nice small piece. Now, these are like the biggest pieces that came out of that 3x3. So there's a whole lot more smaller stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. If you stay with the standard 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, that might work well too, because you'll always have smaller pieces, but if you get too small of a wedge, you're never going to have the bigger pieces. To clarify, with the 2x3 wedge, the centers are 2x3, and then these ones are 3x3, and then you got 3 inch here, 3 inch here. When that starts to happen, do you flip them usually or not?
Sometimes, yeah.
I usually do,
It
but
depends.
because that's starting to get kind of chaffed out on the bottom.
Yeah, oh, he hit a knot, that's why. So I'll flip it.
Okay. Again, when you go to the smaller wedges, especially on a box wedge machine, you create more chaff and debris. So these up here are about the biggest pieces we got out of that 2x3. And then we got plenty of this as well. So that's something to keep in mind. This is ash. Ash isn't terrible. It's terribly hard to split, but it's very stringy. So as it goes through the box wedge, in those smaller sections especially, it wants to sort of tear apart. And you can see on the ground here, we've still got some good pieces of firewood on the ground, but there's a bunch of that kindling stuff as well. But let me give you an example of, like, this is not straight grain stuff. So especially as you run into stuff that's not straight grained, you know, that'll make more chaff and more debris. I want to point out that the 2x3 is just in testing at this point. This was the first run of it on this video, and we're going to do some more testing with it and see if there's any design changes that need to be made. But as of right now, it's not available, but if it passes all of our testing, then it will be at a future date. Let's do some measurements here. So I'll give you guys some example here. We'll put the...
Just overall.
Yeah, okay, yeah, overall. You can see that's about 20 inches wide, and we've got
6-7 pieces on the bottom.
Yeah, a lot of different sizes there.
Here.
I should measure a couple. So that one's measuring a little over 3. That one is just about 3. And
1.5 inches.
Yeah.
3 by 3 probably.
Yeah. What's that square one right there?
That's
that one's
3.
just under 3. Just under 3.
2.5 maybe. By 3.5.
Now this stuff would probably be really good for like a wood-fired pizza oven, barbecue joint, something like that. And they may still want a bunch of the smaller pieces and the chaff, but just this is something that you're going to have to contend with any box wedge machine. You can see it in the centers, it has 2x4s, and in the outers it has 4x4s. The idea is that when you put in a round log, as it's getting smaller, you'll end up making these same sizes in these outer ones. But we're going to test that theory out right now. We just got finished running the 2x4 wedge. So like I said, those center two are about 2x4, and then these bottom ones are about 4x4. So you can see there's kind of a good mix in here of wood that you'd want to bundle. Maybe on the bigger size for bundle wood, but like this piece up here. But yeah, let's look at, okay, 3, what's the, yeah, a little over 4, 3 3/4, 3 1/4. So it really depends on what you're looking to produce, but this is kind of a neat idea for a wedge because you get, when you're going to the smaller diameters especially, you know, you're probably going to be closer to that 2x4 almost all the time. Cool.
Yeah.
So we're done running the machine for now. We tested 5 different box wedges and we put about 6/10 of an hour on the machine, Brent said, and both sides of this IBC tote are full. The nicer pieces are on that end, and then the smaller pieces are on this front end. Of the 5, what's your favorite so far?
Oh boy. You know, I still like the 3.5 by 3.5, which is the wedge that comes with the machine. But I'm torn between the 4x4 and this 2x4. I think running this more, the 2x4 more, it produces a lot more kindling wood and a few 4x4s. The 4x4 or the 3.5 by 3.5 is going to produce a lot more 4x4s. You're still going to get the triangles and the different pieces just like the stock wedge does. But I think you're going to get a few smaller pieces with that 2x4. So I guess I'm going to go with the 2x4. That's my favorite right now, but yeah, we'll see.
What do you think if we leave it here with you to play around for a while?
I think that could work.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. Hey, thank you for your time today.
Yeah,
thanks for letting me put 6/10 of an hour on your machine and make some firewood. It was fun.
Yeah, well, we'll do it again.
All right, sounds good. All right, I want to thank you guys for watching this one. It was a lot of fun today trying out all the different box wedges. And again, I have to thank Brent from Around the Yard for letting us come over here and do that. And I'm going to put a link for his channel in the description. He's got that 35 SHO box wedge machine with the IGX 800 and a 38 GPM pump. He's done a ton of videos with it, showing different techniques. And actually, I really like the technique that he uses for splitting his firewood into the sizes that he wants. If you'd like more information on any of our products, please check out our website, www.wolferidgemfg.com. You can give us a call or send us an email. I'll make sure to put all those links in the description. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next at Wolfe Ridge.